Dashy, what are you doing? Hey. Hey, you guys. Hey, boys. Here. Good boy. Here you go. Get it. Get it, Lucas Spaghetti. Are you going to get that thing? Are you going to get it? This is their favorite game. They play this every morning. We do this. We play tire in the morning and several times during the day. We usually do it on the porch, but a lot of times they'll bring the tire. We have a couple different tires. They'll bring the tire up to the shop up here, and they'll try and distract me, which works every time. Okay, while they're struggling to gain control of the tire, here's our little project. As you can see, I got oars. That's awesome. Let me see, what else have I done? Oh, well, let me see. I'm also working on a Cal 20 here, getting ready to race it this year. And I just made this little emergency ladder. During one of the races, I was up on the bow and we were going to anchor. And the wind was light, obviously, had the spinnaker up. And I go up to the bow up there and I take the anchor, that little itty bitty anchor right there. This little itty bitty anchor, well, it's not itty bitty, but this little anchor, I grab a hold of it and I have the line all flaked, kind of back down on the deck. And of course, we're racing and we have to be very competitive. And I want to get that anchor out as far as possible. So I heave it and the momentum carries me right off the boat and into the Columbia River. And I start floating downriver beside the boat. Of course, there's no wind to speak of. And I get back to the boat, and getting on this boat is pretty tough, especially if you get cold and everything. So, long story short, when I got home, I decided I would make a ladder. It looks like this. Let me see, I'll put it on the workbench here. I made a bigger one out of 1.5 inch pipe, EMT conduit, but we've had that like that probably a couple of years, but it's big and bulky, and this is a third of the weight as the other one. This is made out of 1 inch EMT and 3/4 inch steps. But nice thing about it is it deploys really fast. So you can just take it and throw it on like that, and Bob's your uncle. And you keep it down below, kind of handy. Not terribly handy because you don't use it real often, I hope. And yeah, works awesome. So back to our little project. I think we left off talking about fiberglassing that step of the seat. So I've completed that, and here it is. It came out pretty good. Now, I didn't put the box on. You know, I thought about it. I started the box. I've got it probably 3/4 done, but I thought, I've never used this dinghy before, and I'm not really sure if I really want that. I know they make bags and cushions that go on these seats. So I'm thinking I'm just going to put it on top of the container up here under the little roof, and I'm going to play with this for a while and see if it's something I want to do later. So okay. So let's stick it in that one, and there it goes. just like that. So that works good. So when you sit on this to row on it, so it's, I imagine you'll be bouncing up and down a lot while you're rowing. Be nice to have it connect to the floor somehow. Which brings up the next project. The Ranger Tug, when it's underway, the bow lifts and the swim platform is very close to the water. In fact, you consider it a wash. And behind the swim platform, you'll see a little bit of a wave forming. So I don't want to have the dinghy, as we're carrying it, I don't want to have the dinghy in that wash. I don't want to have it pushing against the boat, causing pressure and possibly damage there. So I'm not liking the idea of hooking the davits to the tubes like I see some of them. So what? I'm kind of busy right now. Here. So a lot of the installations, like if you look on the internet and whatever, and you see the kits that are available, they have these, just like these oar locks. They're glued onto the tube. You'd get 2 additional and put them there, and then you have these heavy wire brackets that would connect to davits. But what happens when the tubes deflate a little bit? Or what if you get a hole in one, you got to carry it home? I don't know. I just like the idea of hooking it solidly to the hull. So that's what this pipe is for. This is kind of a sample of what I'm thinking, where I'd take this pipe and connect it there and have it extend over the tube, and then come up with a way to make a loop of some type that would hook to a davit on the deck. We're going to use Weaver davits, which are on the way right now. And we need to have this out far enough so that it would raise the boat off the swim platform, maybe 6 inches or so. And then we'd have to do the same thing up front here. I've seen some brands that they build something down at the base, but I think, I'll show you what I've been thinking. I tacked together some pipe. I'm thinking I go right here, something like this, a pipe that would fit in there, and then do the same thing on the end, come up with a loop the same distance as that, so the boat would raise up evenly, come up with the connection there. So yeah, so I'm gonna think about that a little bit. And also, you know, this is 3/4 inch EMT, and I can, if I want to, I can deform it just by putting my knee on it. I don't think that's heavy enough. So I am going to make something out of 1 inch. So I'm gonna think about that, work on that for a bit, and I'll get back to you. So I bent up a 1 inch piece. It's considerably bigger, and I definitely can't bend that by putting my knee on it. So I think the 1 inch is the way to go. And then not sure how I'll connect that to the transom yet, but I think I'll use U-bolts maybe. Yeah, I'll try that. And Dashy, my constant companion. Right, buddy? Bring it here. Bring it. You ready? So I've been working on a 1 inch version, and here that is. So there it is. And while I was messing around with this, I put this piece of metal right here because I can lay it right up against that seat, rowing seat, and this can sit underneath it and support it a little bit. So that's kind of cool. And I put this little lifting ring here so I can tie a rope to it and pull the whole boat up. I've got a ton of grinding to do yet on this thing. Not a ton, but I got a lot of grinding and fixing of these welds because this is going to go to the plating shop and get galvanized. So I got to smooth everything down with the die grinder, make it look a little more presentable. Not the greatest welder. Don't weld enough to, just as soon as you get done with the project, then your beads start looking better. Yeah. You guys ever do that? Here you go, buddy. Okay, just sit here like this. So I put this cross bracing in. So I think there's going to be a lot of jumping around. Didn't want anything to bend up, so hopefully that'll hold in there in a good way. So now that'll sit up there, kind of supports that. So that pretty much gets us up to speed with where we are. I've got to get this to the galvanizing shop. I have the Weaver Davits on the way. They should be here this week. And then I'll figure out what kind of a loop connection I need to make that work. I'm also going to work on an idea to make this work for the boathouse too. You know, these things are going to be sticking out probably 6 inches, about out to about here with the loops. I don't especially like that, but there may be a way to figure out some way to fold into that or not. But I didn't want to build anything big on the swim platform because I'd have to build it up off the swim platform. I'd have to go up about probably 6 inches and back at least 4 inches. So I'd have this big hunk of stainless steel back there getting in the way of everything. I don't particularly like that. I think I'd rather try this for a while to see if I like it. And if I don't, I could probably change it and make something different happen. So we'll just go with this for now. This will also allow me to be able to store it in the boathouse out of the water and not have to manhandle it so much to get it on the deck of the boathouse. All I have to do is I'll have a rope go to this U-bolt on the transom and this little U-bolt on the davit, and then I'll rig that up to either, I've got a little electric winch that I could mount on the wall, and then I could drive up to the side of the dock in the boathouse. And in this case, I'll have to lift up probably about 3 inches, hook it in the front, hook it in the back, and that'll stabilize it. The other thing I like about this too is that putting the motor in and out, once I come up to the back of the boat and hook both of those hard davits in, that's going to really solidify it good, where I can feel pretty comfortable about grabbing the motor and stepping off to the swim platform and putting it up on the rail mounted bracket outboard motor bracket.